Hello and welcome to the Book Marketing Success Q&A session with I'm Heather Hart and this is Shelley Hitz.
Hi, welcome.
One of the questions that we hear a lot from authors is just saying, my book isn't selling. What do I need to do to market my book? And I always say that you have two options. You can keep doing what you're doing and you'll probably keep seeing the same results, or you can plan a change. It's not going to change all by itself. You do actually have to do something different. And you have to decide what that is. And this is a quote that I've heard Shelley use often. It's, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah, it's a pretty common quote that is used a lot, but it's just so true. I mean, there's so much that, just goes by the wayside because we just get busy in they call it the tyranny of the urgent, the things that are most urgent in our lives. And a lot of times as authors, you're working another job, you have families, you have volunteer commitments, you have all kinds of things going on, and so book marketing may not be the top of your list unless you plan it and you set out a schedule and you fit it within your life. You don't want it to take over your life, but that's where the plan comes in.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that we've done for authors is we've made our training, Building a Book Marketing Plan, available for free to anyone who subscribes to our newsletter. And just to kind of go over that with you, real quick. Let me see if I can change my screen share.
Yeah, we want to show you a little bit about what we want to provide for you guys in this training, because really having a book marketing plan is kind of like a foundation, and it's like you're building a house and you are building setting that foundation first, and then you build everything up from there. And so having a plan and having tools to set up a plan is just something that we believe is really important. And Heather and I are both authors ourselves. I currently have over 30 books published, and if I didn't have some sort of system or plan in place, I would just not know what I was doing because there's so many different books and launches and things we can do, but having a system in place really helps. And so over the years, we've developed a system that works for us, and it's always changing, and we don't always use it the exact same way every time. But I love using repeatable systems. Once you learn something and then you have an exact step, step one is this, step two is this, then if you write it out, you remember it, or you create a spreadsheet, you have some sort of plan, that you go by, it makes the next time so much easier. So I think you have kind of the Excel spreadsheet up there.
Yes. So this is our book marketing plan template that we offer for free. It goes through just a basic marketing checklist of things that you should do to market your book. It gives you a place to keep track of important links, a list of things that you should have on your website, a place to record review copies that you've sent out, and there's just a whole bunch of other stuff on here, like a virtual blog tour, stuff to help you through your book launch, and a place to record evergreen tweets. So that's just kind of the basic, what you would see with our template, but it also comes with a PDF tutorial and some other things as well.
Yeah, and that Excel spreadsheet is something that actually Heather and I have developed through time, just through our own launches, through our own experiences. And we just love to help authors, and we're passionate about that, and we want to be able to share that with you. As far as setting a plan, I remember several years ago when we first started publishing books. I published my first book in 2008, and at that time it was more of a hobby than a profession. Now I do it full time. But I remember when we first wanted to do our first big book launch, and that was for our book, Forgiveness Formula. We actually sat down and did a 4-month book marketing plan. And that book did end up becoming a #1 bestseller. But I firmly believe had we not sat down and done a plan, that we would just have continued doing the same things that we were doing, selling books at speaking events, to personal friends and family, but not really making a career out of it. And so that was really the first big thing that launched us into the next phase of, just book marketing and being authors. And it all started with a plan.
Yes, and it's also helpful when you've got multiple books to make that plan so you can schedule things to work together for the good of everything and not have too much going on at one time or just have a long time with nothing. Having a plan really does just help you schedule things out and know when to do what.
Yeah, and for everyone it's going to be different, I mean, some people are just more organized and they just want to have a real detailed plan. Other people are just going to have just a more general idea. But Heather and I work together so much, we actually have like a timeline of what we're going to do and when we're going to do it, and it's so that we don't get into that spot or that position where we have too much going on, because we've done that too, haven't we, Heather? And then it's stressful because it's like, you're writing tweets and you're sending emails and you're doing this and you're doing that. And so it's good to know, it's like, okay, what else, and even put in there some other big things you have going on in your life, to know, like, okay, this whole week is going to be taken up with birthdays or with, volunteering at my church or my, child's school, or, just knowing when you have the time and when your life is going to be taking over on other things. Otherwise, you probably won't be getting much sleep or being, stressed more than you need to be. I mean, I want it to be fun. I want it to be enjoyable. I want the experience to not feel stressful. And so having a plan in place really helps that.
It really does. And I was actually just thinking about that this morning, is that when you do have a plan, you can schedule it around your life events and only plan activities that you will have time for. It really does reduce the stress level.
Yeah, and one of the things that my husband and I did when we first set up that 4-month plan is we decided, even what we wanted to put in that plan. So for us, we're both speakers, so we chose to include YouTube videos. And those would be videos of us speaking or sharing something, and that worked really well for us, and that was a really great, complement to some of our other book marketing, strategies. We also planned a teleseminar summit. It was like an online conference that was free, and it was for our target audience, so then we could let them know about our book launch after that. And again, because we're speakers, because that's, our comfort zone, that was something that really made sense for us. But other people may choose to do something completely different. Your stuff may be completely online, online marketing. It may be a big book launch, or it may be a blog tour. Maybe that's your comfort zone is writing, and so you can pump out the blog posts, and you can do the guest posts. Maybe I've seen some people, it's in-person events, and a book signing or something like that. I recently talked to a man that he wrote a fiction series about running. My husband and I are both runners, and he did his main book launch at the Boulder race, which thousands of people come to every year. And so that was his plan, was to do that in-person event at, with his target audience, runners. And so it may be different, but the biggest thing is, to set a plan in place and then start taking action.
Absolutely. And so that's just the main question we get, is how do we sell more books? And I just kind of wanted to open this up to questions along those lines. I know that I haven't seen any question come through yet, but if Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's kind of like what Shelley was saying, that sometimes some people are better at speaking and they want to include those speaking engagements, and other people kind of want to sit back and do more writing of blog posts and stuff like that. I'm one of those.
It's taking you out of your comfort zone, but I think you're a good example for so many writers that do tend to be more, just introverted, or, want to focus on the writing. Like when you take those steps of doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, it can really pay off, and it may not feel comfortable, and sometimes speaking still is not comfortable for me, but it can definitely help you connect to your audience and to relate to them in other ways. And so, that's great that you've taken that step, Heather.
I owe it all to encouragement from people like you. So we talked kind of about how to make a plan, but the next thing is just what kind of aspects do you want in your plan? What kind of things can you do to market your book? And we talked about speaking and writing blog posts, but there's so much more. Having a Twitter account or a Facebook presence, all those things work together to help market your book. And it can't be just one thing. You have to work out kind of a net of different things that all work together. If you do have a speaking engagement, you want to share about it on Facebook, you want to tweet about it on Twitter, and you want to send out an email to your following, or even, like Shelley said, record it and put it on YouTube when you're done. Everything that you do should touch more than one target audience. It's more than one medium. You can put it out on multiple mediums.
Yeah, and I love that because I'm a person that firmly believes in repurposing. If I take my time to write out a really detailed, helpful blog post, I want to use it in multiple ways. You can then create a PDF and put it on PDF sharing sites. You can create a video with the highlights of the blog post and distribute it. You can create an audio where record yourself, speaking the blog post. I mean, there's so many different ways you can use it. You can use it with your email newsletter to provide great content for them. So I am so much into repurposing, and not only repurposing content, but your marketing activities. So, make it, to make it truly count. You only have so much time. So to make your time count, I also think along those lines, as you're asking, like, how can I, sell more books? And, we talked about having a plan. Part of that plan should be repurposing your book content into multiple formats. So, if you have a print format, you can also have a large print format. And, those you may sell, different amounts in those, but having it available in both formats. You can have an ebook format. But in the ebook, you can have it on Kindle, you can have it on iBookstore, the Nook, Sony, Kobo, and we distribute to a lot of those places through Smashwords. And you can also have audiobooks, which Heather and I just released a book, How to Publish and Market Audiobooks, and that has increased another layer of book royalties for us for the same, for the same content that we had already written, and now we're able to earn more from that same initial work that we did in the beginning. And so I just love that whole topic of repurposing.
Yeah, and absolutely. And the other thing is that if you go through the work to make this awesome blog post or to write this book, you've got to having it just on your blog keeps your target audience limited. Only the people who find your blog will find that post. And that's where social media sharing and tweeting and all those things come in. They work together to promote that one piece of work that you did.
Yeah, and that's something that I really have been working on this year, and learning techniques to drive more traffic to my blogs and my books. And that's something that I'm excited to share more of as we go this year, and just share some of our successes and the things that has worked for us, because unless you have traffic to your book or traffic to your blog, you're not going to have people signing up for your newsletter or, buying your books or, those types of things, subscribing to your YouTube channel. And so traffic really is the lifeblood of any online business, and I think is very important for authors as well. So we're excited to continue sharing a lot of those techniques with you.
Yeah, and I do see a question here from Donna. It says, library talks are a good market for me. I don't know many I know that many libraries are strapped for funds. I don't mind doing my talks for free if I can sell my books. Is it detrimental not to charge at all for a speaking engagement?
That's a great question, and I think that, you know, I don't see it as being detrimental, but you have to know your time too. So let's say you spend 2 hours between driving there, setting up, doing your talk, and then you sell 10 books. Is that 2 hours worth, the time, your time worth however many books you sold? The other way to look at it is that you're getting exposure. So you're getting exposure to those librarians. You're getting exposure to people that you would not have had exposure before. So that is a great way to do it, is to offer to speak for free and then to have your books there. I would offer like some sort of special. So, make sure that they're going to get an autographed copy, but maybe they get 2 books for a discount instead of, if they buy one for themselves, they get the second book for a friend, half price, or 2 books, 1 book for $10, 2 books for $15, it was $17, or do some sort of special so that there's a reason for them to buy then, instead of waiting till later. But I think it's a great way if you have the time and you're able to track how it goes, how many books you sell. Keep track of those types of things. See, okay, I spent 2 hours, I sold this many books, I made this connection with this librarian. They might connect you to other people where you can give talks. So there's so many different benefits to doing it, that doing it pro bono can definitely still be worthwhile.
Yeah, and I think it would also depend on where the library was. If you're just going across the street to your local library, I would see that as fine. But if you had to drive across the country and you had to take a plane or, spend a lot of gas to get there, then it might probably not be worth it in the long run.
Yeah, and that's just knowing like what your costs are going to be, what your time involvement's going to be. My husband has done smoothie booths because he has written a book called Smoothies for Runners. And so what we would do is we would set up a booth and we would give out free smoothie samples, one of his recipes in the book. And the way that we make money is through selling his books or through affiliate sales, because we're affiliates of some of the products he uses. So, what we realized is that over time there was certain events that it just wasn't worthwhile to do that, because it was the gas money, it was the smoothie ingredients that we'd have to buy, it was our time. And if it was a small event, certain small events can still be, really good. But we've learned over time which events are most effective for that. And so we're not doing as many of those as we did in the beginning. But, some people, you may do it and then you track your results and say, oh, wow, this is really worth it to me, and so it just totally depends, like Heather said. But that's a great question.
Yeah, and a lot of it really is trial and error. Try it and see how it works. And if it's not working, then you can change it up or discontinue it or go in a different direction or whatever.
Yeah, and that's really the premise of marketing, is to track it, to track your marketing. And that's one of the reasons that we provide that Excel spreadsheet as part of, that free training you can download on our site. It's just one way to track it. Now, you can track it in a notebook, you can track it anywhere. But that's another thing that I'm really working on improving, is tracking even my conversion rates through the book launches. How many people visited the blog post, then how many people clicked on the link, and then how many people actually bought the book. And so it's very interesting to me to track this. I'm not technically a numbers girl. Like, I didn't like statistics in school. I didn't like all of those things. I was good at math, but I'm not really just a numbers girl. I'm more relational. But the numbers are really telling. And so when you track your book marketing efforts, it actually is very fascinating to me. What works, what doesn't, what are the conversion rates? Because if like, okay, 10% of the people that come to my blog are going to end up buying my book, or 3% or whatever, then you know, okay, if I get this much traffic, I'm probably going to have this many sales. And it's just fascinating to me. But yeah, definitely, if you're doing those things, track your success. Like I said, with my husband, when we did the smoothie booths, we did a lot of them last summer. We only did like 1 or 2 this summer because we just realized it wasn't as beneficial as we initially thought.
So I don't see any other questions. I think we've already covered a lot of information in just this short amount of time. Did you have anything else that you want to talk about how you can start selling your books?
I think this is, this provides just a great foundation of, getting started. If you have questions, definitely leave them for us. You can leave them at our website, trainingauthors.com, on this blog post, or, contact us. But definitely sign up for our newsletter. We promise we won't spam you. We love to provide quality content, and we're providing a lot of content for free through our blog all the time, and so we would love to share that information with you. It's trainingauthors.com/newsletter, and we look forward to connecting with you there.
Absolutely, and I've got it up here on the screen for you one more time. Again, it's trainingauthors.com/newsletter. And our classes are always in session. Like Shelley said, we've got the free information on our blog all the time. We've got lots of books and stuff, other resources that you can find on our website. That's all we have for you today. So here's to your book marketing success.
Thanks for joining us.